everyone. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Love Your Body podcast on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're listening. I appreciate you so much for sharing these stories, listening, and just, being a part of the DDF community. If you are interested in any challenges I have coming up, the Get Your Movement In Challenge is launching here soon, so stay tuned for that, as well as online programming. Would love to work with you from all over. And you guys, I'm just so blessed and so thankful for this season of time. Please, if you get a chance to share the mission, rate the podcast, whatever you want to do, comment, let us know what you think about it. We would love the support, and we're always looking for sponsors. So if you're someone that's listening right now and you want to get your business out there as well, we'd love to have you as a sponsor. And so let us know at Danny@DannyFitness.com. Hey everyone, welcome to the LYB podcast. On today's episode, we have our winner of the Fight for What You Want challenge. Well, one of our winners, Vera Lordy. How are you?
I am tired.
Yes, I know we just came from a workout. So if you're watching on YouTube, Vera got to get changed. I just came back in from the LYB. So, we're in it. But you look beautiful wearing the Danny blue. I love it.
Of course.
Yeah, always repping. But tell everybody, so we'll start here because you've done several challenges. Yeah. And is this the first one that you've won?
I have won third place twice.
Okay. With the Get Your Movement In challenge?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And so you guys, with my challenges, I usually do, it just depends, right? So there'll be like, either it's, there's just different categories for things, right? So like this one, it was just there was 10 people who stayed in it. And so I chose 3 because I had a bunch of prizes and things like that and had to divvy it up and everything, which was great. And I'm so thankful for all the sponsors always. But yeah, and your name came up and it was just awesome. So I was very proud of you. And a lot of people think that it's just my clients that win too. Usually it's not. Like usually it's like challengers, just people who I've never even met in real life, which I think is so funny. But yeah, so tell everybody how long you've been with Danny Fitness and what do you do?
I think I started training with you in 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right after your Get Your Movement In challenge.
Okay.
Which was how I met you.
Okay, yes.
I didn't join the challenge, but I got a journal from you.
Okay, yes. I remember this vaguely because at the time, and I still go to Franklin sometimes, get my nails done, run errands, whatever. And it was through Instagram. And I think that you were like, no, I'm not going to join the challenge at this time. But we met up. You want to tell them?
I fangirled over you.
Yes, I remember that a little bit. And I think, did you bring me cookies?
I don't remember. Did I?
I think you did.
Quite possibly.
Because I love a good chocolate chip cookie. I think you were like, I made these. These are like, I don't know, they're probably gluten-free.
Oh, yeah.
All the stuff, right? And I was just like, yes, what a vibe. Because I don't know how many people have ever actually baked me things before. So that was so sweet. And I was just like, that was the best. And, but yeah, I got you a journal. I think just wanted to give you kind of just like a goodie bag, just because I was like, I see you working, you're out here doing, you're doing so much and you're following the mission, and it just meant a lot, and that's how we talked about this on the last week's podcast about how people can get involved and stuff. And you were, already kind of a part of everything. You know what I'm saying? Even before being a client. And even if you wouldn't have been a client, you still, with support, I feel and come to things, and that's huge. So I love that. But yeah, 2021.
2021.
Okay. And then after that, when did you start training?
We actually met at the very end of 2020. Mm. It was December 30th or something.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
And then, I think you contacted me in February and was like, do you want to come and train with me on Saturday?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I kind of do.
Oh, yay. I love that.
So, yeah. So we started working in February of 2021.
Okay. I love that. And, oh my goodness. So we're going on 4 years. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So tell them a little bit about your health journey because you're a teacher.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so, you've been in the education system for how long?
24 years.
Yeah. Okay. So, and traveled a lot too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because where did you start? Where were you?
I started teaching in Georgia.
Okay.
In South Georgia. I lived there and taught for 10 years.
Okay.
Before 2009 hit and the recession hit and my husband lost his job.
Okay.
And we had to move. So, and we moved to North Carolina, taught in North Carolina we were there for almost 6 years.
Okay.
Moved to Ohio for a year, did not teach in Ohio.
Yeah.
simply because we were only there for a year.
Okay.
And then we ended up here.
So, and this is all the travel was because of his job?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And when he first lost his job, you said, how old were you when that happened?
So it was my 10th year. So I think I was actually like 28.
Okay, wow. So when did y'all meet?
We met when I was 22. Literally.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, like
really?
literally the day before my birthday.
I didn't realize y'all were that young. Is he older than you or younger?
2 years.
2 years older. Okay. It's 22, 24. And please tell everyone how you guys met. Just, well.
So I didn't date. Didn't date. I was very determined to go through college and to have a career as a teacher. I've always wanted to be a teacher since I was little. And I just was very focused on that is my career. That is what I want to do. That is my path. And my best friend, who I adore, Kelly, was very tired of seeing me not date and wanted us to have families together and wanted us to do the things. And she knew that I wanted someone who could take care of himself, who had a career, who could, support himself.
Right.
And she got with her dad, who worked for Procter and Gamble in Albany, Georgia, and was like, "Hey, you got any single guys?"
Yeah.
And her dad set it out as a mission to...
Oh, I didn't realize this was her dad.
This was her dad. It was her dad's mission to set me up with somebody, and he set me up with this guy's a friend of ours now, but like he set me up with this guy, and it was kind of like, really? Really?
Wait, what was it? He just wasn't your type at all?
He was not my type. It was just completely like very, very different, and just not me at all. Okay. And then he actually set me up with Eric.
Oh, okay. So he was like, I feel the vibe.
Yeah.
We're not meant for each other, but I got this friend.
Yeah. And he actually had just started dating who is his now wife.
I love that. Okay.
And he was like, hey, I really like this girl, but I think I want to set you up with. But of course, no one tells me anything.
Oh, okay.
No one tells me anything. So we all went out on a big group date.
I see.
So it was me, it was my best friend, it was my best friend's father, and and all their spouses, and and then there were like 3 of the other guys who work there with Kelly's dad, and their girlfriends, and then Eric, and no one said, "We're trying to set you up with Eric."
Oh, so you just kind of put 2 and 2 together when you got there?
No, I had no idea the whole night.
Oh, okay.
He just kept trying to talk to me, and I'm like, "Why is this guy trying to talk to me?"
Oh no! It's like, thanks for leaving me out, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
no
my
one told me.
goodness.
No one told me literally until like I went to my car and Eric asked me my number, and I was like, "Fine, here."
Yes. Oh my goodness. Kind of reluctant. Yeah.
Very reluctant. Very much like, all right.
But so like, were you attracted to him at first, or were you just kind of like, oh, he's just some guy, or like,
what was some guy?
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, it was. He kept smiling at me, and and I always I tell him that he knows the whole thing too. Oh yeah. And I'm like, dude, you creep me out because you just kept like standing next to me and smiling, and super awkward because we're both super nerdy.
Oh, okay. Because you would say that you're more introverted than
we both are, and it was so funny. And then he called me up, and that was the day before my birthday. Okay. And then he called me up a week later and was like, "Hey, you want to go to the movies?" Okay. And I was like, all right.
See, a good movie date. This is like exactly what I'm manifesting. That sounds awesome. Like,
but no, I was not looking for a guy. I was not looking to get married. I was not looking for any of it. I was learning and trying to figure out how to teach and all the things.
Right. And so this was in Georgia that you guys met. Okay. And you're from Georgia?
No.
Originally from where?
I consider North Carolina home.
Okay.
My dad was a Marine though.
Okay.
So we lived in North Carolina, California, and Georgia.
Okay. Gotcha. Be all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like, so when, I guess with being with Eric, you're like, the travel, you didn't mind that. Because
I didn't mind it. I also didn't think I signed up for that because I was like, I'm not marrying a person in the military. No offense to military people, but it's like, it's very hard to move a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really didn't want that life.
Right.
It just kind of ended up being our life.
Yeah.
When we moved to Ohio, that was supposed to be it. We were not supposed to move anymore.
Yeah.
Until he retired.
I see.
But 2 weeks after we put an offer in on a house, they were like, oh, we're selling the entire unit to Mars Pet Care.
Okay.
And his job was once again in jeopardy. And it was like, okay, well, what does that mean? So we moved to Ohio with the expectation of we probably are not staying here.
Okay, I see. Gotcha. So out of all the places you've been, what was your favorite, or what has been your favorite?
North Carolina is always home.
To live. Okay.
Yeah.
And is that just because of like was it the community there? Was it the people, or was it just the environment, or what? Like,
I think it's the community. I think it's also like North Carolina has everything. You
Okay.
know, they've got the coast, they've got the beach, they've got the mountains. It's a very beautiful state.
yeah,
And
for sure.
you know, I've always felt like it's like going home. You just kind of get that
Yes.
feeling of
Okay. Yeah, I see. I gotcha. Do you? I mean, because you guys have been in Tennessee for how long now?
we are in our 9th year here.
Okay.
This is the longest we've lived anywhere.
I was about to say. So, do you feel like it's like kind of home, or you still feel like you're like not really?
I still struggle, I think, with the connectedness here.
Yeah.
You know, we're still in North Carolina. We had a church home and we felt very connected there. And
Yeah.
here it's been a little bit harder for us to get connected and to have that church home
Yes.
feeling. And
I feel like that's a lot of people. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like a lot of, I mean, especially because I now train people from all over. They've come here from California, they've come from Florida, they've come from New York, whatever. And, you know, they're just like, it is so hard to get in. And I don't really know how to tell them, because it's like, I'm from Murfreesboro. So it's like, but it really is one of those things of like, people who've been in the same cliques and the same stuff since high school, like pretty much stayed in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or how my outside perspective is. That's like the same people rolling up together. Like, it's almost like it's so hard unless they work with them immediately and it's like a work thing or whatever, that then they have this next kind of group or clique, you know? But it's just very challenging for like as adults, you know?
it is. And we don't have kids. So that adds another layer of complexity.
Was that something that you both had talked about not potentially like wanting kids, or was it that not able? Or?
Yeah. During our marital counseling, we, that was one of the things that came up, and it
Yeah.
asked us where we were. And I've always been of the mindset of, I don't really want kids. I want to play with everybody else's kids and send them home.
So kind of like what I do with Louie. Yeah.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
I wave
Hey.
across the street and then take him on a walk, and then I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
Then
taking
hands
care
off.
of him.
They're yours.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think that also, that kind of works against me with that whole connectiveness, is
Yeah.
people look at us and they're like, well, you don't have kids,
Yeah.
so you must not like kids. I'm a teacher.
Right. Yeah. It's not that you. Yeah.
I do like kids. Yeah. So we decided early on we didn't want children. Eric,
Okay.
there's 14 years between him and his siblings. 14, 16 years between them. And he's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, I've been there, done that. I'm good.
Yeah.
But it ended up, as we continued in our relationship, like my first year, I got diagnosed with the PCOS.
Okay. So at 23.
At 24. We got married
okay.
at 24 when I was 24.
Okay.
So I got I started having problems with PCOS, which I think it's lovely and connected to the birth control.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I didn't start taking birth control until I was 23.
Wow.
Because I
Okay.
didn't start taking birth control until I
Yeah.
literally had a long-term relationship.
Right.
And so I started battling all the PCOS. Well, my first surgery, my surgeon destroyed my right ovary
Yeah.
and never told me that he
Right.
destroyed it. So my right ovary was never functioning right from then
Oh my
on.
gosh. Because you went to get surgery because of the PCOS.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I had a cyst that was, I think they said it was about the size of a lemon or
Oh
an
my
orange.
gosh.
Like, it was really big.
Okay, so
And
they're literally like, we see these cysts on there, and then just trying to explain for people, because some people don't know what PCOS is.
Yeah.
And so many more women are coming out like saying they have it, right? And so it's ridiculous. Like, and I really do think it goes back to the birth control. And so, but because we all were on it, we all got, and especially my age, like all got put on it at a certain age,
Yeah.
right? Like, so when they went in, they were trying to get the cysts, like burn them off, or what do they?
Just cut it off.
Just cut it off, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
laparoscopic. So like with the, cameras and whatever.
Yeah.
So they cut it off, and I think they drain it and then like take the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Because if it burst, having
Yeah.
that fluid in you is toxic.
Okay,
And
I see.
They're not supposed to allow you. Like, if they know that you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, they're not supposed to allow you to constantly have these ruptures, because it's actually toxic for your body.
Right. Yeah.
So I started having them at 24.
Okay.
I had 2 surgeries while we were in Georgia.
Okay.
It continued while we were in North Carolina. North Carolina, I went and saw a fantastic doctor who was affiliated to UNC.
Okay.
University of North Carolina has by far one of the best hospitals I've ever been to.
Okay.
And he referred me directly to the campus.
Wow.
And to a specialist.
Okay.
And the specialist was like, yeah, you can't have kids. And I need you to be okay with that before we go in and do a full hysterectomy.
Oh my gosh.
But he's like, so my uterus was tilted as well.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you get pregnant, you're not going to carry it to term.
Right.
Like, there's just no feasible way for you to actually have children. And
And is that because of the PCOS or because they messed up with the ovary?
Actually, neither.
Okay.
The uterus thing I was actually born that way.
Okay.
And apparently my sister has it too.
Wow.
Like, she has a tilted uterus as well.
And she doesn't have kids?
No,
Okay.
she does not have kids.
Okay.
And so it was really interesting that, I went that long. So by the time I was 31, I finally had my full hysterectomy.
Yeah.
Because he made me wait a year. He was like, here is the information.
Yeah.
Sit in it for a year.
Right.
And then we'll talk
Right.
about doing the full hysterectomy.
And was the full hysterectomy supposed to be for like what would that have like helped with your periods? Would that have helped like in terms of like because they were so painful, or like what was the reasoning? Like they're like, if you keep everything in there, like stuff's only gonna get worse, or
well, the right ovary wasn't working as
Okay.
it was, so it was like that already had to go.
okay.
He said that as long as he's like, you're not going to get pregnant. Like,
Yeah.
if you do, you're not going to carry it. And so he's like, we need to just take it all.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I can't even prove the viability of your left ovary at
Right,
this
I
point
see.
is actually working. So, and then he decided, he's like, when we take your ovaries, he's like, well, I'm not leaving all the other parts, because then it
Yeah.
just puts you at risk of having cancers and like cervical cancer and
Oh, I see.
uterine cancer and all the
Okay.
things. So he's like, we're just going to take it all.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then I've just been on estrogen since I was 31.
Okay, gotcha. So with all of that, because a couple of my other clients have had hysterectomies before as well, but it wasn't because of, it had nothing to do with like the PCOS, any of that stuff, right? So I guess like, is that just, do you find that that's a common thing for women nowadays to get hysterectomies? Or, because you were very young when you got it, but have you noticed more people are getting them, or is it just,
I think insurance has made it harder.
oh, okay.
My sister she was supposed to have a hysterectomy years ago, and they refused her.
Oh, okay.
And they told her that they only did like an ablation or something, like,
Yeah.
like cut the tubes,
Yes,
or something
okay.
like that. And they're like, we won't sign off. Like, insurance is dictating what's happening with our healthcare now.
Hey everyone, this episode is sponsored by Fight Energy. Fight is your all-in-one go-to health drink. Fight is not only just an energy booster, it is a mood booster as well. So with your daily dose of vitamins, nootropics, 0 calories, it is your all-in-one health drink. I drink Fight every day. My clients drink it. Someone you probably know drinks it. And you guys, what I'm offering for as we get into 2025, we're doing a discount for 25% off your first order if you type in LYB. Okay, so we'll know that you came from the podcast, and that way we can make sure you get some Fight Energy and some other little goodies thrown in there too. So if you get a chance, we would love to know which team you are. Are you team strawberry? Or are you team blueberry? Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I know you've dealt with that, because I do want to get into, for now, like looking into like, because at what point did you start getting into a workout regimen? Like even before you met me, any of that time, because you've done group classes, you've done training, you've had all these different things that you've done in terms of movement wise. What age were you when you started that? And were you, when you were younger, like was there any influence of physical activity? Or was it like your dad's, like he's in the Marines, you said, right? Mm-hmm. So he's Marine, like he does all that. We don't have anything to do with fitness stuff. Like,
Well, so because I had asthma really, really young, my mother wanted to put me in a plastic bubble.
Okay.
So she wouldn't let me do a lot of things.
Okay.
I mean, I did a lot of things that normal kids did. I rode bikes and roller skated and did all those things. But as far as like participating in group sports or doing anything like that, like she was super protective and wouldn't let me do.
So you were more focused on like schoolwork, just put your head down, let's get through it. And then,
Yeah.
What was it about? I'm jumping around a little bit, but I wanted to ask this. What was it about teaching that you wanted to like get into that? Did you have like a teacher that you loved and you're like, I want to be like them? Or was it just, I love being in the classroom? Like,
So when I was in 5th grade, we lived in Lejeune, which is a Department of Defense school.
okay.
It's an amazing school.
Okay.
And they allowed us, the high performing students, to like go once a week to the younger grades, and we could sit with the kids and read to them, and they could read to us.
Wow. Okay.
And I just loved it. I was just like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
So, of course, the age has gotten older.
Yeah.
Since then, because, when I first started, I was like, I want to do little kids. And then I'm like, no.
Right.
Wait.
Everyone I've talked to that says that, they all think they want to do little kids and they're like, nope, absolutely not. And then they end up doing like middle school or high school. And yours is high school, right?
I'm high school now. I started in middle school though.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I love that. So tell me then, okay, you didn't do fitness, you weren't into any of that. So you meet Eric and then you start having all this health stuff go on. So was it one of those things where like a doctor was like, hey, your health needs, like if you work out, like your health, you know what I mean? Like, was it that or?
No. Kelly and I, every summer, Kelly lived down the street from me.
Okay.
So we would walk every summer. We walk every day. That was pretty much the extent of my fitness. We had a YMCA open up near our school at one point.
Okay.
My last 2 years that I was in Georgia, and we would go after work several times a week, and we would go to the Y, and we would either like do the treadmill and then do weights or whatever. So I've always kind of dabbled, but I don't really count that as my fitness or my health journey really until I moved here to Franklin, and I was I would say we had lived here 2 years, and I was like, my weight just continued to climb. My health continued to be problematic. And I was like, okay, something has to give.
Yeah.
So I would say I was probably 37.
Okay.
When I actually was like, okay, something's got to give.
Okay. Gotcha. So you start having the health issues around 24.
Yes.
Okay. Kind of get a handle on it at 31. And then at what point was it like the autoimmune stuff started happening?
So that actually started at 15.
Okay.
But I didn't get diagnosed until I was 35.
Wow.
It took them 20 years. It took 20 years and me moving to North Carolina and having a doctor look at me and say, that's not normal. We need to see somebody.
Gosh.
But
it's crazy.
I forgot to you repeat this question. What's the difference between PCOS? I know they're related, but PCOS and endometriosis?
So what's the difference between PCOS and endometriosis? What'd you say?
Well, PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's where your body repetitively makes these cysts on your ovary.
And by the way, guys, I knew this, but Logan asked me to ask a question. So for those at home listening, because his sister and mom have endometriosis. So
yeah, endometriosis. I don't 100% know all of endometriosis. I know it has to do with like the formation of tissue forming either in or even outside of your body.
Yeah.
And it interferes with and can fill up all of those nooks and crevices.
Yeah. So usually with an endometriosis surgery, they go in and they can just like burn it out. Because I've had multiple clients who've had that surgery, and which. Yes, and like all of that build up. Now with the PCOS, that with the cysts on your ovaries, like what she's talking about with the bursting and stuff like that, that's where it can be problematic. But like with endometriosis, it's very painful. So it's just a different kind of pain, essentially.
Yeah, PCOS, you get pain like as the cyst is bigger and then burst.
Yeah.
Once it bursts, it's like once the fluid's out of your body, it's like, I'm better now.
Right. But then that's hard too when you're younger, and then like if you have like cramps and you have stuff and you don't know and you're like, what's going on, and like you don't know what's on the inside is happening, right? Until you go in and have to do like an ultrasound, and there's pain. Yes, there's so much pain.
So much.
Yeah. And so and also what I learned too is that endometriosis can come back. So you go through all these thousands of dollars, these surgeries and whatever, just literally for it to come back.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
My sister was like
And-
close to having a hysterectomy when she was like 19.
And so, okay, so Logan said, what'd you say? You said that your sister almost had to get a hysterectomy at 19? Yeah, that's why. So with you to say that, I mean, to be so young. So did you feel like, I mean, when that happened, I guess like with everything that you've gone through now, so because you're in your autoimmune, like you found this out 35. So like, how did you mentally were able to handle all of this? Because it's not like this is like, okay, I got this done and then like check it off. Like, okay, I got this done. It's like you've continually had to like deal with all of this.
Yeah, and there's highs and lows. And I think you know that just like with your own stuff. There's good days and there's bad days, and there's good moments and bad moments. And, you know, the autoimmune is rheumatoid arthritis in both of my hands. And, you know, I think I fought it this year for like 3 straight months before it finally eased.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that like the more you have to fight it, the more scar tissue that builds up and the more it affects the mobility. And
Right.
so and you've seen me, like you've seen the grieving process with me working out. I get very frustrated. I get very angry at myself when I can't pick up something I can't pick up. And
Yeah.
but it's one of those things, is like, give up, and or do you keep fighting so that later on you're in a better position? So it's like, when I'm 60 years old, I can still write and I can still do the things, and I haven't lost the mobility of my hands.
Right.
Or do I give up today, and then when I'm 60, I have to have my husband help me put my bra on and put my clothes on, and
Right.
like,
And that's so, like, that's such a beautiful and hard realization, right? Of it, because again, the way that my brain used to work with stuff was like, with like kind of how I said it before. Okay, you break a bone and then you put in a cast and then you get better. And then, okay, you do this and then you do this and then you get better. Okay, you do this, like, and you know, and even to do everything correctly, right? You did all the things. You ate correctly. You worked out. You do all the stuff, and even still, it's still not better.
yeah.
Right. So, and it's like, and so I always, and that's why I tell people all the time with like my clients that, you know, that you guys are just so unique and special, because it's not about just coming in to lose weight. Like with what you just said in that statement, right? Like, I want to be able to use my hands when I'm 60, you know, which really isn't that old, right? Like,
It's not that
and
far.
and I know that, and yeah, everyone's probably watching you on YouTube being like, she looks so young. So it's like, because you do, all my clients look so young.
I know.
But yeah, because you're 40, what?
I'm 45.
45, yeah. And
According to my
I'm just still
students, I'm
young.
32.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I was about to say, literally, no one ever thinks, like, when you said that you've been in, you know, when you've been in stuff, like, you know, that you've been that long. But yeah, I mean, that you've been like teaching that long, you know. But yeah, so it's very, you know, it's a hard thing to realize. So when did you, I guess, come? So how old were you when you came to that realization of like, I have to do something to stop this? Like, was it like 40 or 30, you said 37?
37, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I had been trying to do it on my own.
Okay.
For a long
Oh,
time.
okay. Gotcha.
You know, for those, especially those last 2 years when when I got the diagnosis at 35,
Yeah.
you know, we moved to Ohio, we moved here. I got put on the Plaquenil to kind of fight suppress my autoimmune system.
Okay.
And
Is that like a viral infection medication, or?
it's malaria medication.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's actually what it's used for, but it's used for a lot of other things too. But it's
Okay.
it's an immune suppressant.
Gotcha.
It's been around a long time, and it's been
Okay.
used for.
Did it help at
autoimmune.
all?
It does help a lot.
Okay.
I still have moments where I flare, and my doctor would appreciate it if I had 0 flares
Yeah.
in the year. But I tried going on the next level of medication. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't
Yeah.
like my blood work coming back. So I took myself off of it. And then I told her, and I said, hey, I took myself off the medication.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right.
But-
So I guess what causes the flares? Did they tell you?
They don't know.
Yeah.
But I can tell you from what I know.
Yeah.
Stress, for one.
Yes.
I could do something very silly at the gym, and
Yeah.
that could honestly fall into like I stressed out my hand too much. And then-
Right.
yeah. Food is a big one.
Yeah.
Sugar is a huge trigger for me.
Yeah.
The more sugar I have, especially, and that's why I have a lot of times in January, I'll have a flare up because of December.
Yes. Okay.
And, you know, it's like, yep, you ate too much sugar, Vera. Shouldn't have done that.
And then you feel, yeah, and you're just down for the count.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's something too, like, I want people to know about, like, when it comes to, you know, autoimmune stuff. Like, because before I had issues with it, I mean, I really chalked it up to like, oh, great, like your immune system's like down. So what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just you don't think about how much, like, it's in your gut. Like, it affects everything. Like, I mean, your eyesight, you know, your hands, like all the different things. Yeah. And so it is just crazy. Like, that it's connected to so many things, and that there's so little information about what to do.
Yeah.
And how do we get better with it, you know? Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching the LYB podcast on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And thank you so much to all of my clients. Thank you for those who do online programming with me that live across the country. Thank you to those who come in person to the LYB, my food accountability clients, for those fighting to actually eat their food and feel fueled and feel their best each day. I'm just so excited to see what 2025 is going to bring. We're going to have the Get Your Movement In Challenge. Stay tuned for more info on that. I'll be posting on my Instagram this week, and I'm so excited. And besides that, you guys, my book's on Amazon. fight energy. We have sales going on. Make sure to check that out if you need a little pick me up or a stocking stuffer. And thank you again so much for listening, subscribing, and sharing with everyone that you know. So we were just saying that you've done so well with not getting sick as often, which is great because you are around kids, you are in the school system. And I do just want to say that I really feel like fight has a part in that. Okay, getting your daily dose of vitamins, because I will say this, a blanket statement, and this is for my clients who are have immune system issues, everybody, but then also are just healthy and whatever. Whoever, I know my people who drink fight because they don't get sick and call to reschedule sessions.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. It's hilarious. And I'm like, just drink it. Just drink it.
I think I can count on one hand how many times I've rescheduled with you.
Yeah. Literally, right? And
I just don't.
I think it's so funny because too. Wait, which flavor is your favorite?
Strawberry.
I know. I had to ask. Strawberry. I'm blueberry. But it's so funny because you drank the blueberry. I mean,
did.
And then when we came out with the strawberry, you're like, yes, this is the one.
Yes.
I still remember that. You're like, yeah. I'm like, yes.
It's like drinking a strawberry. It's just so good.
I know. I love it. So, but anyways, I'm trying to think when this will come out. Yeah, this will come out. So you still can get the deal 2 for $60. So anybody listening, start doing that through Cyber Monday. But anyway, back on topic. But that's why I really do feel like I don't ever really get sick, either, and which has been great. But the other thing about all of this is that I think that there's lack of empathy when it comes to immune system stuff, and really with any type of disease that people have that you can't see, i.e. all women's health stuff, right? With your PCOS, endometriosis, all of that, right? So how have you dealt with that in terms of we'll go through this question first, but mentally with people, kind of understanding. Because for example, when you said you finally were like, I need help with my fitness journey. If you're going to classes and you're doing things, did you ever feel like there was an internal battle, a struggle? Was it did people understand?
Well, I started with Heather.
Okay.
I started with a personal trainer.
Okay.
Who literally came to my house and gave me zero excuses.
Yeah.
To not show up for myself.
Yeah.
Because at that point I was also still only online teaching. I wasn't in the school yet.
Okay.
So I love Heather. Heather is actually the reason I found your Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, she follows you.
Okay.
And and it showed up as a suggestion,
so
and it said Heather follows this person, and I was like, oh, okay, let me follow her.
Well, thanks, Heather. Thank you for bringing us together.
Wonderful.
I love that. Isn't that wild to think about? Because it's isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and I love her, and I probably would still work for her or work with her.
Yeah.
She trained me for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it was before COVID.
Yeah.
She kind of pulled back from personal training to focus on her actual day job that was paying the bills.
Yeah.
And I respect that. I hate it for me because I hated it for me because I loved her so much, and I do love her so much. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
But and then from there I went to Burn, and I started going to Burn boot camp.
Okay.
And I did that until 2020 hit and everything shut down. And I was like, okay. And at that point I had injured myself twice at that gym. And I was
geez.
I was pushing myself too much though.
Right. Yeah.
I was doing 5 and 6 days a week. And if you know anything about Burn structure, they do 3 days of strength and 2 or 3 days of cardio. And those cardio days really did a number on me.
Well, and that's the thing too, that I think people listening, it's not to be fearful of classes, but it is the fact that when you don't have a actual realistic healthy regimen, you can end up going 6 days a week, 7 days, because they offer that. They're a franchise model, right? or you're doing, you're going back to back and doing the same muscle groups or whatever, right? And you're kind of overexertion of everything, overexerting yourself. So when you got injured, you said, so did that put you down for a little bit, or was it because with COVID and everything and...
Well, COVID was kind of my chance to be okay, take a break. Okay. And I got with Heather because, I told you, I still talk to her. She's still I love her so much.
Yeah.
I got with her and we kind of came up with a plan of just go for a walk. I couldn't go to work. At that point I was back in school.
Okay.
I was teaching in a school, and I was like, I can't go to work. I can't do anything. All I am is looking at 4 walls, staring at my husband all day because he was, when he was home, because he was traveling a lot then.
Right.
And I was like, go outside.
Yeah.
Just go outside and go for a walk. And that was just probably the best thing in the world for me.
Yeah.
To just go outside and walk.
Well, and let's circle back to this challenge, right? Like because the goal was 10 minutes of movement a day or 10,000 steps a day,
Yeah.
And, you're in the school, so you're going up the stairs, you're doing all the things, running around, trying to get your steps in and everything. And it's like, and like that even, since we've been working together, like now you and your husband, like sometimes he'll go on a walk. Like
He does. He goes for a walk most every day.
Yeah, but you instilled that in him because he saw you going for your walks, even when it was cold or it would rain or whatever. And so it's been really great to watch because I always say this, like, no offense to my guys out there, but like usually it's the female who's like sets the example for certain things. You know what I mean? And again, there's other situations and stuff like that, but y'all are the ones that are like, I'm doing this. And then usually it's about a year, maybe 2 years, sometimes 5 years. They come around and they're like, you know what? Like, I want to start doing that. Or like, I want to feel better. Or I want to do strength training or whatever. So I love that. Now you both have that together,
I know. I'm back in, a regular school full time. And I miss my afternoon walks with him because he would take a break about 2:00 and we would just go for a walk. Even if it was 100 degrees outside.
Right.
We would still go for a walk. And our neighbors would always stare at us and be like, why are you walking at 100 degrees?
Yeah. But it's awesome that he's keeping up with it. And then that way too, when it does get, when you have more time with your schedule and everything, you both can go do that together. Yeah. So I love that. So when it comes to, after, the classes and stuff like that. So after COVID and you kind of took a break, then was that around the time that we found each other? Was that?
No, I actually went to Lifetime for a year.
That's right. Yes. Okay.
A year and a half, year-ish. I don't know. And I worked with a personal trainer there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I did really early mornings. I used to go and see her at 6 o'clock in the morning and do a 35-minute session. Mm-hmm. And then I would go home, shower, change, go to work.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky that I was able to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
She got promoted, which was wonderful and lovely for her. And I was like, I had some people say some really disrespectful things to me at Lifetime. And I was like, I don't think this is a place for me.
Like other group people, or was it like people in charge?
People, clientele.
Okay, gotcha.
In the locker room, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is where I need to be.
Yeah,
and shame on you for treating any woman like that.
Right, for sure. And that's the thing too. Is like that's where we've talked about it here on the podcast about sometimes people be like, man, like have people like said these things to you and like whatever, and it's like there are I can list all of them, and I've talked about it in my book and stuff like that too, where there have been comments. And again, I've forgiven those people. Like, it's not that whatever, no resentment towards them, but there've been things like said to my face that never should have been said to a young woman or a young girl, or even, as an adult, like it just, whether it was in a gym setting or it was because of what I was wearing or just whatever. Right. And those comments, like, it can take you away from maybe like the gym routine that you had. And some people can be like, oh, that's so dramatic, or they should have kept going to the gym or whatever. And it's like, when you don't feel like it's a safe space, that's huge. And working out is a very vulnerable state of being, you're sweating, you're doing your deal, maybe you're not wearing comfortable clothes. Like you're just trying to move, you're trying to figure it out. Like maybe you don't have a program or a trainer with you. Like it's a lot that mentally people are having to go through, let alone then exert themselves. And then, you know what I mean? Like, and that's another thing that I feel like people lack the empathy with, in terms of creating more of those safe spaces, Yeah,
I've been the person who sat in the parking lot and cried.
Yeah.
Before going in. Yeah. Or not going in and turning around and leaving.
Right.
Because it is so hard to get the nerve to go in sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's a gym or if it was like, I've done that at Burn.
Yeah.
And I feel Burn is probably one of the most accepting places I've ever been as far as a group class structure has. And that is thanks to, of course, Abby, who is there.
Right.
She's kind of created that climate of everyone is welcome in this place.
Right.
And we need people like that. We need you. We need Abby. We need people that are going to go in and say, everyone is welcome here, no matter where you are.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where too, I think that it does come down to just a lack of understanding from people who don't, that are just going into the gym and they're going for the wrong reasons or whatever. Right. And the other part of it is that like people in fitness roles not having that understanding, right? And just looking at black and white, right? Very basic, like do this, and then equals success when
Yeah.
when there's so many things that have to be in account. So like, again, with the autoimmune, that's an issue, right? Of things that you have to work with and work around. And again, it's not something that's to where, you can't modify, and I feel like we found over the years, I mean, 1,000 ways to modify for things, right? And so I want you to talk a little bit about that in terms of, because like you said, you are kind of competitive when it comes to when you're around and all of that. So, with doing the one-on-one, and now you come to the LYB, which is great. You used to come to Next Level when we were there. But kind of how has this process been a little bit different, or how has it been like this mission for you?
Like your mission? Well, you meet us where we are. And that is what every personal trainer should do. No matter where we choose to pick up a personal trainer, every one of them should meet us where we are. And you come at us sometimes with the, don't compare yourself. Yes, so-and-so did this. That doesn't mean that that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Or yes, she's over there running.
Yeah.
That's good for her. That's not good for you. And you meet us where we are and you listen to what we have, as far as like our difficulties and our different health issues and what we are capable of. And, days that I walk in, I'm like, I can't pick up a coffee cup today. Okay, Vera, we're doing legs.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to adapt and we're going to overcome.
Yeah. So it's, and that is not, if you're in a group class structure, it's a little bit more difficult.
Right.
If I go in and it's an arm day and my hands aren't working,
Yeah.
I should just turn around and leave because it's not going to work.
Right.
Like it's very, it's disappointing and it's hard to justify paying for something like that.
Yes.
If you can't actually utilize it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that what's so great that you were able to do was, and thank you for the kind words, by the way. I appreciate that. And you are one of the hardest workers I've ever worked with. So you should take a lot of pride in being consistent. Like you said, there's been a handful of times where you, over the years, that have not come in. Like, you know what I mean? That have had to like, and that was like, again, like the weather maybe once, and then like you're a flare up or something to that effect. So again, that's incredible. But also when again, you could have used 5,000 excuses and things that and like, and like, I just can't make it. I can't do it or whatever. But you chose to show up for yourself. So again, it is like meeting people where they're at, but it's been so great to watch you, I think, even continue to surprise yourself in what you've been able to accomplish, And so that's been awesome. But yeah, I feel like in terms of with the sitting, with the negativity that happened, like with Lifetime, right? That at the end of the day, you could have just been like, I'm not going to ever have a trainer again. I'm never going to go to a class or any of that. But you put the main priority, the goal of my health is more important than any shame that someone can put on me. It's more important than any look that anyone can give me. It's more important than like everyone else is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right. And that is where, like, with the, like, loving your body, that's why I try to express that so much to people, that it's literally irrelevant that you were a size whatever in high school. You know what I mean? Or that, before for people who've had kids, like before baby weight or after baby weight, or like, I don't know, just all these different things. Cause it's what's the body you have right now? What are we dealing with right now? And how can we be a little bit better today? So I just, like I said, I've just been so proud of you, in watching you fight literally for what you want, season in, like every day in, day out. And then also in terms with like the challenges and stuff. It's good to see. And Move Fit, you've come to Move Fit and done that. Tell us about that. How has your experience been with that?
I am the worst dancer ever.
Whatever. Everyone always says that, but
I have 2 left feet.
No,
I usually,
it's okay.
I have to you do your turns or whatever. I just stay put. I'm like, nope, we're not turning.
Yeah.
Cause that's
okay.
I'm going to turn right into your mama or whoever's next to me.
No, it's all good. Like, you do a great job. But I want you to, cause if you could think of, and I can think of a time, but I want you to think of a time. If you can think of one time over the past, going on 4 years, right, of working with me, like that you felt like it was the most out of your comfort zone.
Oh, 100% going to the expo.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That was so far out of my comfort zone and so far. That's going into the mental health area of my life and being an introvert and having social anxiety and you know, being in large groups of people brings me a lot of anxiety all by itself.
Right.
So, which is crazy. It's like, Vera, you're a teacher.
Right.
You're around 200 plus kids at any given moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but you put me into an assembly and I'm looking for the first exit.
Yeah.
But no, so Fit Expo, you had me working with the photo booth, which was fine. And, you know, I came and I think you saw kind of where my limit, you were like, okay, Vera, you can go home now.
Yeah. Cause you were like, do you need any help with it or anything like that? And I was like, if you want to come, would love to have you help with the booth and everything like that. Like, you're a great representation of the brand and loving yourself throughout. So like, obviously would love to have you. And I had some clients that came and they just did Move Fit and left. I had some clients that just showed up and said, hey, you know, I had some other clients that helped with the booth as well, Katie and Amanda. And so, yeah, so you did. But like, again, you still did a little bit of Move Fit. You hung out, you talked to people, you got to see some people you knew, which was great. Right. And so, yeah, it was a special day overall, but you conquered that fear of just getting out of the car.
Yes.
Right. And this is something that I actually want to point out to people that like, if you wouldn't have, and again, I would have understood either way. If you would have been like, I can't come in, you know, obviously. But you had the accountability. You know, you had the support of like, I know that when I get in there, there's going to be people that I know that love me, that are going to be, you know, I'm going to be around people that having fun and just energy and, you know, and I want to be there. Right. And so you had that accountability. So I think that is the biggest thing with your journey is like having that support and having that community that maybe like that someone listening is like, I just don't feel like I have that community with the church yet, or they moved to Tennessee or they moved wherever and they're just like very lonely. Right. And so it's important to find that, and you're finding that through your health and fitness journey, you know, which has been great. Cause I mean, you've like got to see the other girls at other events. You got to see them, you know, when we do little photo shoots that we just did and everything. So tell me about that. Do you feel like in the groups and stuff with the challenges, like, do you feel supported? Do you feel like, does it help motivate you? Like, what kind of is like, what's been your favorite part? Like, hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to the LYB podcast. If you haven't yet, please go check out the How to Love Your Body Throughout book on Amazon. This is my very first book. I am so proud of it. It is a short read. You can also get it on Kindle. So it's not a huge commitment, but it is something of a self-help book. So if you're someone who's looking for support, you're looking for tools, you're looking for just a way to feel better during this holiday season and into the new year, I definitely recommend it. I put my heart and soul into this, and this is just the start. So if you haven't yet, go on Amazon and get your first copy.
Well, I often lurk kind of in the background. Yeah. a lot of times. Yeah. I don't post a whole lot in the groups and stuff, but I read everything.
Okay, yeah.
And
I know all of you listening, I know y'all reading it. I know you see. I see you seeing it. Like, I know. There's one of my girls, literally Kylie, I'm calling her out now because she'll never listen to this, but nobody even knows who she is. But like, she reads everything, but will never comment anything in there. Like, I think one time I was like, sis, you just ran a half marathon and you're not going to put something in there?
That's awesome.
Like, yeah, it was huge. But I was like, she like back in the day was like a junior Olympian. You know, it's just also, I'm like, can you please like praise yourself a little bit? You know what I mean? But anyway, like, yeah. So if I'm annoying, whatever, I don't care. But it's because I try to drag that out of you guys to be like, you should sell. We can all day long go on about the negative and go on about what's not going right, or, you know, having a flare up or this or that or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's so many wins that like I see from you guys. We're literally like, I'll have a whole day of clients and like 7 people be like, yeah, this was going good and whatever. I'll be like, hey, if anybody like wants to put something positive that's going on, no one says anything. And I'm like,
it's crickets.
Literally, I'm like, okay, then I guess I made it all up. Guess I didn't hear anything positive.
No, it's that it's hard for a lot of us, at least myself, to praise myself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, somewhere along the way, I think that has been part of our training in our, you know, and it's something that you've been trying to teach us too, is like, Don't talk to yourself like that. You wouldn't talk to your mom like that. You wouldn't talk
Right.
to your best friend like that.
Right.
Why are you talking to yourself like that? And I
Yeah.
think that is where we struggle with writing in the group, like, this is my win.
Yeah. And I will say that people are getting better about it and talking more about it, or, being happy about, certain things, which is great. But I wanted to ask you, because this is also something that we have in common, which is not great to have in common. But with grief, do you feel like some of that came after because your dad passed away, right?
Yes.
How old were you when that happened?
Oh, I don't even know.
Okay.
I was already working with you, right?
I think, yeah. Yeah, it was.
Or no, I think it was a couple years before I started working with you.
Okay. Because it was
in
recent.
It was 2018.
Okay, yeah, okay.
2018, he passed away from an accident.
Okay. So when that happened, so it was an accident. So it just was.
Yeah, for all of you who want to be a little freaked out, he fell out of bed and cracked his head on the end table
Oh my goodness. So
in the middle of the night.
So when that happened, your mom just like found him and then.
Yeah, he started calling for my mom.
Okay.
And she found him on the floor. Like, he had rolled out of bed, he busted his nose, and had hit his neck. He had already had a really bad injury to his neck anyway.
Okay.
From when he was in the Marine Corps, and had it stabilized.
Okay.
He had like a cage or something in his neck.
Okay.
And this was just like, I don't know if it like broke the cage. I don't know what it did.
Oh man.
No one's ever really explained it to me. But
Okay.
But through the process of this happening, he became paralyzed, 100% paralyzed, and was on a vent and all that for about a month.
Okay.
And then they found he had blood clots. When the blood clot finally threw,
Yeah.
and he ended up dying
Okay.
from it.
I see.
So it took a month from the date of the accident to his actual death. But
Wow.
With the blood clot,
And
was the blood clot, would that have been an issue?
would the blood clot have an issue either way, or?
I think so.
Okay.
My mom suspected he had blood clots in his lungs for a long time, and no one ever diagnosed it.
Okay.
So
So it might have happened regardless if. Okay.
it might have happened anyway.
Okay. So when you were where? You were in Tennessee.
We were on a cruise.
Oh wow. So you were on the cruise and your mom calls you and says,
I got no notifications.
You can't.
oh, I've never been on a cruise, so I didn't know
Blacked out.
you what?
Yeah.
Blacked out.
You don't have
We
notifications?
did not pay. We were not paying $25 a day to use their Wi-Fi.
What?
And a lot of times, even if you do that,
I
you're
didn't.
only talking to each other.
I didn't know that with the Wi-Fi that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So so you're on the cruise. So you get off the cruise and then
Yeah, we were in Miami. I
Okay.
turned my phone on at 6 a.m, and I had probably 15 missed calls and a
Right.
bunch of messages, and like called my mom at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, "What
happened? Yeah.
what had happened? Why are you calling me at 6 in the morning?"
man.
And she's like, "I need you to know that your dad died while you were gone."
I thought he just had the accident.
No, the accident. I was here.
Okay. So, but you thought you're like, we
Yeah,
think
I
he's
was going to go
stable,
home in
or-
a couple weeks.
Okay.
After we got back from the cruise.
I
and
see.
Go see him again.
Oh my
and-
goodness. Okay. So, that's horrible. I didn't realize that's how.
Yeah. The cruise line was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, my mother tried to give me a message. They wouldn't give her. They wouldn't allow
Oh, my
her to get a message to
goodness.
me.
So, wow. So, whenever that happened, do you feel like because you did get to see him, like, I mean, did you have closure with it, or were you just like,
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like my dad was this big 6'4" Marine.
yeah,
To think that he was going to live his life in a bed for the rest of it.
Right.
He was 61.
yeah,
That's not that old.
right,
I had a really hard time wrapping my head around that.
Yeah.
And seeing my dad in a hospital bed, like seeing your parents in a hospital bed.
Oh yeah,
It is
I know.
difficult.
Yeah.
And, to see him incapable of doing anything.
Yeah. So, do you feel like that was kind of God's grace of
I do.
having that happen? How it happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't, he would have fallen into depression.
For sure. And I know that, you've been in your faith and so I wanted to ask you, were y'all raised Christian or no? Okay.
No.
So you adopted that as an adult. Like,
I started reading and searching when I was in my teens
Okay.
by myself. And like my mother gifted me a Bible
Yeah.
And even though she doesn't agree with it, and I just kept digging in and reading more and
Okay.
trying to understand. And then when I met Eric, it was very important to him that I would be baptized before we got married.
Okay.
Because I had never been baptized.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So I got baptized at 23.
Okay. I love that. And Eric, he was raised Christian?
He was raised Catholic.
Oh, Catholic. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And then he broke from the Catholic Church
Okay.
and went to a Wesleyan church, and then ended up at a Methodist church in Albany where we
Okay.
were. And
Gotcha.
we've kind of deviated here
So-
and there from other, you know,
Yeah.
to other churches and other denominations.
Okay. I gotcha. And so did your dad and Eric get along? Like, did they like each other? And-
They did. It's
Okay.
just very different, though. My dad was very military and loved guns and like talking about all the military stuff. And
Yeah.
Eric is like, I'm an engineer.
Yeah. He is. Hey, I will say though, he has been at the Christmas party and stuff. When I've met him, like he's been very talkative, very like, you know, it's not like he just
yeah.
sits there. Like he's not like that introverted of where, you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
He's a forced extrovert.
Yes.
Is what he will tell you.
Okay, yeah, so I get that. And I know we've talked about a lot of heavy topics, you guys. And so, like, as we're coming to the end of the segment, you know, I really do feel like, you know, more people need to hear a story like yours because, again, like, there's a lot of people who have far less health like issues, right? Things that are going on in their everyday life and that find so many more excuses to not show up for themselves. Yeah. So if you were to tell your even maybe your younger self or something about like, you know, something just to help you maybe like, and that would also help other people to hear, what would you kind of say? Like, because in terms of like before you knew about the autoimmune or before anything, like, you know, was there anything that you would give any advice for?
Well, how healing walks are all
Okay.
by themselves, for one, to continue to do that.
Yeah.
And to start that much earlier.
Yeah.
But I think just like the societal expectation that women are all supposed to look a specific way, I think that piece, that acceptance of, I'm not going to look like that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And my weight might not look what the doctor says it's supposed to be. And that's okay because I am far stronger than I've ever been.
Yeah.
And, you know, and through our journey, you know, and you've pushed me and we've done lots of great things. And
Yeah.
I think I would want to encourage my younger self to start earlier.
Okay. I gotcha. I think that that's very key. Because it's almost like so many times we put off, we wait, right? Or we say, well, we'll do it later, or we'll start here, we'll start there, whatever. But yeah, I mean, now you hit the awesome opportunity to look at things from a lens of health and without take the vanity away of it. You know what I mean? Because again, you're still like it. You know, for those listening who aren't watching on YouTube, which you should be watching on YouTube and subscribe. But for those of you who are watching, like, you know, with Vera's journey, like she has lost. I mean, you've lost weight, you've gained muscle, you've done so much, you've changed your body. I mean, dramatically from when we first started, you know? And even like being able to lift, I mean, upwards of, I feel like it was, I don't remember your max off the top of my head with deadlift, but like,
I think I was 235.
I was going to say, yeah, like 235, 245, something like that. And just like crushing it, you know, carrying heavy weights. I mean, like anything that I put in her hands, like she can carry, you know what I mean? Like despite having flares in her wrists, like, I mean, it's just, you know, it's been really cool. And so that's something too, I think that more people need to let go of that sense of what is beautiful or what is strong or what does that look like or whatever, because you know that you're beautiful and you know that you have all these amazing strengths in you and that a person is more than just looking like the societal standard, you know?
And finding the time for it. Y'all, I work 2 jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find the time for it.
Yes, exactly. And you do make at the time for it. And that is something that, like I said, with all my clients, I'll boast on all of you, that again, it is hard work. It is not easy for anyone. It is not that someone got a free pass and it's just whatever. Like, you know, because even somebody with a healthy metabolism or a healthier or whatever, like they may have issues with binge eating or like there's so, you know what I mean? Or that somebody who doesn't have autoimmune issue, but then they, get injured all the time because they're just doing crazy stuff. It's just like everyone has their struggles, right? Yeah. And I think that it's been, like I said, very special to watch you grow, trying to turn the negative into a positive, because like I said, I know going through it myself, like it is easy just to sit on the couch and be like, man, I wish for things to go back, or I wish, and live in that. So, I got to ask you this question. What is something that you love about your body?
Physical or visual or what?
We'll do both.
Okay. Well, I love my face. I think I'm absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I do. And I love my eyes.
Yeah.
And then just like, I love how far we've come with my upper body strength.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
To go from using 8-pound weights.
Yeah.
To being able to push up 145 pounds.
Yes.
Is that as far as we've gone?
Yeah.
I love that. And I never would have dreamed that 7 years ago, that would even be something I could do today.
Yeah. That's huge. That's awesome. And that takes time.
Yes.
Upper body is not just something you can you know what I mean? Like,
and I know most women are like, I hate upper body day. No, I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it because I know that, there are days that my hands will not allow it.
Well, and speaking of which, we have the Get Your Movement In Challenge coming up in January. And I haven't told you this yet, but we're combining kind of what we just over the past few challenges. So the theme is 12. So it's 12 weeks. We're going to you can choose either 12 push-ups a day or 12,000 steps a day.
Oh, pushing it to that 5 mile, 6 mile mark.
Yeah, girl. So we upping it. Oh, so it's gonna be crazy. More me walking in my house back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna take forever.
That's definitely what I get.
Yeah, literally.
Sure.
Oh, a mile real quick at night. But no, but so that, and we're also gonna have basically a calendar PDF that's gonna be sent out to you guys, and so it'll have protein goal 120 grams. It'll have at least minimum. And then,
I was gonna say that's not my protein goal.
Yes, and so at least. So the 12 kind of like that. And then have your body weight in ounces in water, and then have if you got your movement in. So it'll be like a check thing. So we'll have different winners for all three of those things. So the person who's consistent with actually marking it down, the person who did the push-ups, and the person who did the 12,000 steps. So it's gonna be really exciting. So I'm stoked for it. I know it's gonna be great. But yeah, and then there was something else I was gonna say too, real quick. Also, so you're not just a regular in-person client. We also do food accountability coaching.
Yes.
Okay. So how has that helped you for them listening?
Working with you to do my food accountability has been far different than other people. Not because you're not a dietitian, I think, in the formal sense of the word.
No. Sports nutrition certified.
Yeah. I think Tennessee would frown on it otherwise.
Yes.
But I think we've set some goals of that are actually really doable goals, of my protein and what my protein should look like, what my carbs should look like.
Yeah.
And based on what I want. And they're all interconnected to what I want my output to look like when I'm with you training.
Yes.
So if I want to push the 145 pounds, I need to make sure my protein and my carbs are where they're supposed to be.
Right.
And y'all eat your carbs.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
I have Danny in the back of my head all the time. Eat your carbs.
Yes. Yes. For sure.
The number of times and that is, it's breaking, I think a lot of women need to do this. It's breaking these ideals that we've been instilled in of don't eat fat and don't eat carbs and you need to just eat your lean protein and nothing else. And it's like, no, you need to eat all of it if you actually want to be well-rounded and to be able to lift.
Yes, exactly. And I do. And I program differently. If you're like, I didn't eat, I'm like, cool. We're not going to do the fun stuff then. You know what I mean? So it's so it's again, rewarding for eating. Right. And I feel like a lot of people don't take the time to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to hear your perspective on that because again, I want people to know that it's meeting them where they're at.
Yes.
And every food accountability looks different for everybody because again, I do tailor it because you all do have different goals and you all have a different way of what makes sense, Yeah. So again, I just really appreciate you so much and I thank you. And I'm so excited to see all the amazing things you continue to do. And yeah, I'm just so proud of you. So
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on, girl.
Thank you.
Until next time.